Hello, hello, hello. I'm so excited that you guys are here and you're ready to start making money as an author. I mean, who becomes an author and doesn't attempt to go after the extra stream of income? And it's far beyond royalties. There's so many things that you can do with being an author, and I could speak on that for days. But today you came to learn about how to maximize social media so that you can expand your reach and expand your income. So typically, when people think of authors, they think of someone who's standing in front of a large crowd or featured on a radio show and they're sharing about their book. Those are wonderful marketing strategies. And if you haven't figured those out, we need to connect. But for today, I want to talk about maximizing social media. Recently, I'd say probably about 6 months ago, I had a wonderful woman from Africa reach out to me and share that she had been reading one of my books and was using it with a small group at her church. And naturally, it brought me to tears because it just made me realize the power of your reach when you have social media, when you have a book that someone could afford all across the world. And when you have social media and you're talking about it, you can literally reach anyone. And it's so powerful that we all need to be taking advantage of it. Now, I know that most people are nervous about social media because there's all these ins and outs. There's all these things you should or shouldn't do. Sometimes it seems like you're being too transparent. Sometimes it seems like you're sharing too much about yourself. Sometimes it feels like you got to be super confident. And we're going to break down all those barriers today and put you in a position to succeed as you're using social media. Now, if you were to look at my phone right now, you would probably see I have like a little timer on my phone that tells me how long I spend on social media a day. And you would probably see somewhere between 3 and 4 hours. And for most people, that's a lot of time if you're just like scrolling social media. But I am at a point in my life where everything that I do on social media is with intention, even with me sharing things about myself. And I want you to get to that point because in turn, it has helped me become a better author, a better person to connect with my audience, and a better salesperson when it comes to actually making sales from my book. And so that's what I want to be able to teach you today to be able to do that. So the biggest mistake people make is they publish their book and they expect it to sell itself. 5,000 books are being published every single day, but not everyone is marketing their book. And that's why most books kind of just fall by the wayside, or you don't hear about them, or you don't find them when you do a Google search. And so it's difficult. But here's the reality. If you put in the work, if you're proud of your story and you know that it's going to change lives, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, marketing should be actually one of the most exciting parts. Marketing should be something that you look forward to. I always say the simplest step in marketing is just talking about your book wherever you go. You should want to talk about your book, especially if you know what your book can do for people. I look at it like it would be irresponsible to write an entire book to change someone's life, whether it's through entertainment or self-help or self-development or whatever. It would be irresponsible not to share that with them. It would be irresponsible to put in all that work and then hide it. And I remember when I was on my journey to writing my first book, that was my goal. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to publish this book and then I'm never going to tell anyone about it. And I'll just, hide from it. But like the value that I had in my first book is life changing. And so it would have been really unfortunate for people to not have the tools and the strategies that I shared in my first book. And it would have been unfortunate for me because I went on to become a best-selling author. And so had I given up on that, it would have really been, I wouldn't even have known what I was missing. Um, and so there's a lot of different ways that you can market. Obviously, you can market in person at local events, libraries, bookstores, all of that. Or you can market virtually. And really, you should be doing both. While there are some great benefits to reaching your ideal reader face to face, I have really come to love, 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 love social media. And that's what I want to talk about today. So before we dive in, if you need to pause me, that's okay. But I want you to think about your current marketing plan. Does it entail social media at all? What do you feel like is going well with your marketing plan? And what do you feel like you can improve? This is something that I reflect on. I would probably say every 2 to 3 weeks after publishing a book. And then in the in-between time is typically every month. when you're new, you could even be reflecting on this once a week. You could say, what worked well for me this week? What didn't work well for me this week? What can I change? How can I progress moving forward? What can I do to put myself in a position to succeed? And so what I'm going to talk about are a lot of different strategies. And I'll be honest, this training may initially be very overwhelming, but you have access to it so you can come back, you can try different things, and you can continue to reflect on your plan so that you're applying this training and making adjustments accordingly. But right now, I just want you to think of your current marketing plan, whether it's in person, whether it's virtual, whatever it is. I want you to identify that marketing plan and consider what's going well and where you'd like to improve. Now, I want you to think about your ideal marketing plan and your overall goals. What are your financial goals that you'd like to accomplish? How many books would you like to sell? How many people's lives would you like to get, involved in by your book? How many testimonials would you like to have by the end of the week? How many free copies would you like to give of your book? And we'll talk a little bit about what that looks like. But I want you to think about what your ideal marketing plan is. And for some of you, you don't even know what your ideal marketing plan is. And that is totally okay. That's part of this journey. That's part of this process, is just to start to learn different things that you can implement to create a successful marketing plan moving forward. Now, obviously, if you are wanting to market externally, like in your local area, or you're wanting to market outside of social media, then there's other trainings that we can connect with. And at the end, I'll show you how you can connect with me. But I want you I want you to really focus this on using virtual tools to set yourself up for success. And I want you throughout this training to keep an open mind. Most people that come to me have a very basic understanding of social media and how to use it, but some of these things are going to be a little higher level. But again, you'll be able to replay this, you'll be able to review this, and be able to consider what works for you. So the first thing that I want to share as we're going through this is that you don't want to do all of the strategies I'm going to share with you, okay? Because there's a plan behind the way it's going to work, and we'll break down the plan. And maybe I should jump there first. Let's jump to the plan first. The first plan, there's steps that you want to take. And so the first step is you want to identify where your ideal people will hang out. Okay. Where is your ideal reader at? Is your ideal reader using social media? And if so, what social media platform are they typically on? For me, I've done a lot of digging, and you'll see I'll share throughout this training what I've done with social media. And by far, most of my ideal readers are on Facebook, and then Instagram follows second. But you want to do research. And the best way to do research is start to look at people who have books in your genre. And where are they showing up? Are they showing up on Instagram? Are they showing up on Pinterest? Are they showing up on Facebook or Twitter, or just blogging or podcasting? Where are they showing up that you will be able to also show up as well? You can also consider interviewing some people that are your ideal readers and asking them, what social media sites do you like? What social media sites do you use? What stands out to you in that? The truth is, the more you interview these people and the more insights you gauge from them, the more you're able to support them. So if they say, I use Facebook, but sometimes I feel like people with new books always try to force me to buy their books. Now that's something that you can take as an insight and say, how can I not be so forceful when my book comes out with pushing it onto them? Or if they're like, I use Facebook and I really love when authors do live Q&As or live reenactments of their story, then now that's insight for you. So consider taking some time to interview 3 to 5 people in your ideal market to determine what social media site they use and how it speaks to them. Step 2 is you're going to determine ways you can show up for your people on the social media site. And we're going to go through the social media sites and what different things that you can implement on different social media sites, because every social media site is different. And that's part of the reason why I say don't try to be a jack of all trades. Don't try to be on Pinterest, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram. Don't try to be on everything, because it's extremely overwhelming. But do at least reserve your name on each of those sites but that way no one can ever try to take your name. Unfortunately, I've seen this happen with really well-known authors where they'll write a book and somebody will create a Snapchat with their name and it'll be associated with them even though they have nothing to do with it. So I personally have Nicolia Williams across the board. So it's easy to find me on any site, but I'm not necessarily extremely active on every site. And so I want you to consider that as you're considering which sites you really, really want to show up on. I would say 2 to 3 is like total max. But I want you to determine ways you can show up for your clients. And we'll talk about the ways you can show up for your clients on different sites. I want you to create a schedule that you can commit to because creating a schedule is huge. When you are used to scrolling on social media or when you're used to not using social media, it's easy to get off track with it. I will be honest, in the beginning parts of the process, it does become overwhelming. But once you get into the flow of it, once you get used to it, and once you create a schedule, you'll be in a position to succeed. So I'm going to share a couple scheduling tools that you can use. But one of the strategies that has been proven to be most successful, not only for me, but for my clients, is I pick 1 hour a week and I dedicate that to social media. And during that hour, I craft what I would like to say on social media, whether that's a couple blog posts, whether that is maybe a script for a YouTube video that I'll record later, whether it is a post that I'm just going to put up on social media on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. I create an outline for the week ahead. And what that does is that reduces a lot of the stress the day of. Because there's going to be days where you wake up and you're like, I know that I need to show up today. I know that I need to post something, but I don't have anything to say. When you create like a list of things that you can say, you can pull from that. I actually took it a step further. One of my clients and I, we had a work session together, which was really awesome. We just logged in together and did like a working session. So it was kind of like an open Q&A for her, but she was working on something, could jump in and ask me questions. So while she was doing that, I got an opportunity to work on batching. So batching out a bunch of different posts that I wanted to share over the next couple of days. And by the end of that hour, I had about 12 posts. Well, interestingly enough, during the week, some ideas came to me and I posted those things as those ideas came. And I was like, wow, I'm going to share this on Monday or I'll share this on Tuesday. And by the end of the week, while I had shared regularly, I still was left with somewhere around 7 or 8 posts that were like pre-scheduled in a notepad in my phone. And so some days when I have those mind blocks or some days when I'm just really exhausted and I can't think of anything to say, it's really easy to have something to pull from. This is a big time commitment and it's something that takes work, but it's something that in the long run saves you work down the road. You know, this is well known as an author. When you sit down to write and you're in the flow of writing, you might as well just get it all out, because if you just try to write and stop and write and stop and write and stop, the ideas will eventually fade away. And so it's the same thing when I'm batching my posts. It's easier for me to sit down on a Sunday for an hour to 2 hours and just write and get some thoughts out and get some ideas out than it is for me to sit on a Monday and write for 5 minutes and sit on a Tuesday and write for 20 minutes and sit on a Thursday and write for 30 minutes. Just to have that template reduces some of the work later down the road. And so create a social schedule that you can commit to as far as posting. It's also, so I want you to create a schedule for you. It could be like a doing the Sunday thing. It could be like maybe you're setting aside 30 minutes in the morning to consider what you want to say, if you want to go live, if you want to blog, if you want to do a video. It could be that. But I also want you to create a social schedule for social media. So how often are you going to post? Here's what I'm going to say about that. The best thing to do is to be consistent. So if you cannot commit to posting 7 days a week, don't post 7 days a week. It's better to start off posting 3 days a week and sticking with 3 days a week than it is to post 7 days a week. Because one thing, if I've learned one thing through social media, it is that people watch you. People truly, truly watch you. I unfortunately had a person that came to me and really had a lot of momentum on social media and then fell off. She was like, I didn't really feel like I had a lot to say. Holidays came up. I got distracted. And while I understand all of that, what that spoke to her audience is that she wasn't connecting. And so she saw a major reduction in sales and she ended up coming to me very frustrated. And so we created a social schedule that was within her reach. I'm not at all telling anyone to post 7 days a week if that's not something you can commit to. So find a schedule you can commit to and stick with that to start. You can obviously build upon that as time goes and as you get into the flow of it. The next step is to get accountable. So I always say have an accountability partner on this journey. Honestly, my accountability partner is my mom. So she has like an alert set up on Facebook and then Instagram. She'll check every now and again. But she has an alert for every one of my posts. And I promise you guys, she is almost always the first one to like it or comment. She is like really, it's funny to me. But after I noticed that, I was like, she's going to be a good accountability partner for two reasons. One, if I fall off, she can say, hey, Nicolia, like, where have you been? Why aren't you posting? Two, if I have typos or things like that, she'll highlight them because she's reading it. So you want to find an accountability partner, somebody who's already actively engaged on social media and somebody who can call you out on your stuff and keep you accountable to your goal. So once you find that accountability partner, let them know, hey, I'm going to work on being more noticeable on social media. These are my goals, fill in the blank. I want to post 3 times a week. I'd like to do 1 video a week. I'd like to do a live a week. I'd like to make sure that I'm commenting to every comment that I get. Whatever your goals are. And it doesn't need to be anything formal where it's like, call me every single day if you don't see me. It could be like, hey, if you don't see something from me, text me. Or, hey, would you be the first one to comment to let people know that it's okay to comment? Or, hey, this is my first live. If you could just join me, that would mean so much to me. So just getting someone that's in your corner that can root you on and hold you accountable is going to take you a very, very far way. Step 5 is to start now. So the biggest thing that I see when people come to me is like, I give them all these tools and all these strategies and they're like, okay, well, I'll start that when I've actually published a book, or I'll start that after I make a few sales, or I'll start that after I get a big following. There's always these arbitrary dates of when you're going to start. Start now. The more you get into the role of social media and the habit of using it for your benefit, the more it becomes like second nature. Like I have such a routine with social media that like sometimes when I get on there just to like check on people or scroll, I'm like, oh my gosh, like it felt so long since the last time I've been able to do that. And so having that routine, and let me just say, if you haven't published yet, that's actually one of the best times to start getting your voice out there because you'll have content, you'll have like a home base, so to speak, that people can come and look and see who you are as a person. And one thing I'll say about marketing, when you're selling something to people, people are not necessarily buying the thing, they're buying from you as a person. And so there is this concept called the know, like, and trust factor. And with the know, like, and trust factor, people have to know and like you before they trust you. So the more information they see about you, the more they see you show up, the more attentive you are to yourself as a brand and as an author, the more people begin to trust you and say, oh, okay, I like this person. And so it's a great way to kind of set to create a headline, or to create a foundation. A foundation is a better word. To create a foundation for your author journey. And so that is super important, is starting now, not making excuses, not waiting, not, allowing yourself to let fear seep in, but just to start now. And so let's talk about the different social media sites that are awesome. So we have blogging. Blogging by far is something that I think everyone should do. And I'm actually not even going to include this into the top 2 or 3 social media sites that I say. Blogging goes back to the know, like, and trust factor. When you're a writer, if people have never experienced your writing, a lot of times they want to see quote unquote samples of your writing. And blogging is a great way to do that. So they can see your style of writing, they can see what you write about, what you focus on, how people engage with you. And it, again, gives you that level of expertise where they're like, oh, this person is a pretty good writer. They have a running blog. And so for me, even though I write books regularly, I also blog weekly. That's something that I'm very committed to. First off, I talk a lot and have a lot of ideas. But second off, I recognize that when people come to find me and they want to see who I am as a person, I want them to have so much content that they're like, man, this girl is giving all this value away for free. What could she possibly give me in this book that I could pay for? Or this is so entertaining on his or her blog. How much more entertaining would it be if it's something that they invested all this time and money into, such as a book? And so some tips for blogging would be to post relevant content. So you can share things about you as an author and as your journey, and share just about you. People like to know about who you are as a person, but post relevant content to your book. So all of my books are personal development books. I have quick tips for busy women, devoted dreamers, progress over perfection, habit hacker, discover yourself after divorce, make your message your masterpiece. I have all of these personal development books. I do have 2 children's books, but most of the big chunk of my books are personal development books. So my blog is very much based on personal development, goal setting, habits, time management, productivity hacks, but I also talk about book writing, because that's something I do as a coach, is I walk people through the process of writing books. So if you go to my blog, you're going to see very relevant content to who I am as an author. And again, that highlights this level of expertise that I have, increasing that know, like, and trust factor. With blogging, you want to create a schedule and, again, be consistent. If you blog in December and then you don't blog again until a whole year later in February, like, people are going to stop following your blog. They're going to stop engaging with your blog. You need a reason to have people engage with your blog. You want to invite people to read and to comment. So if you know people that like to read blogs, or if you know someone that could be blessed or benefit from something you just blogged about, invite them to read it. It could be somebody at your church. It could be your mom. It could be your aunt. It could be your friend. You could shout it out on Facebook like, hey, this is a new blog I posted. Come over and visit. Come over and see. But again, the more engagement you have, the better traction you have as a blogger. Have a place to collect email addresses and a good reason why. So social media is great, but the truth is we don't really own social media. And so tomorrow, all social media sites could be shut down. And so all the followers that you build up on Instagram or on Facebook are great until they're no longer popular, or until people are no longer on those sites, or until those sites shut down, God forbid. And so you want to have a home base where you have email addresses. And this is great for a couple of reasons. If you have not published yet, if you have a list of people that are watching you and are interested in your writing, and you're collecting a list, now you're not marketing to chirping birds. You're marketing to people that are like begging for your book, that are waiting for your book. You're somewhat keeping a waiting list. Collecting email addresses also allows you to engage with people outside of social media. And so I like to think that email addresses are somewhat more personal, because with those on my email list, I call them my VIP subscribers, they get really great value. I'll give away freebies. I give away, drop nuggets and give value, and I show up and I do newsletters weekly. Like, I'm very attentive to my email list, and I nurture my email list because I want them to succeed. And so people are very protective over their email addresses now, because email addresses are like all over the place, and people are always using our emails for a million different things, and we always want to unsubscribe, and it's overwhelming. So you want to have a good reason why people would want to be on your email list. So that could be you creating a free offer. That could be a giveaway, like if you sign up for my VIP list, I'll be pulling two names for a Starbucks gift card. That could be that you're going to be giving them encouragement or motivation. Or maybe if you've already published, it could be like, hey, I have a sequel coming out and I know you guys have been following. I'm going to be dropping hints about it. You want to convince them that they have to be on your email list, because you don't want people to become resentful being on there. And then once they're on your email list, you want to keep them. And then blogging, like I said to you guys, blogging should be a priority for every single author. No excuses, guys. Here's just like a picture of like something I blogged just recently. What you need to know before writing your book. So if you're reading this, it's likely because you have a goal to write a book. Let me be the first to congratulate you. This is awesome. So I go in to talk about what you need to know before writing your book. And the neat thing about it is that I offer ways for people to connect with me. At the bottom of my blog, I always offer free calls. And that's because I'm a coach. And so maybe you're not coaching and you're just being an author. You can just say like, hey, I'll talk to you guys next week. Give them something to look forward to when they're reading your blog, or ask them an engaging question. What are things that you wish you knew about your book or before you wrote your book? Ask them an engaging question so that they engage. And again, that keeps the blog flowing. Facebook is the next one. So the way that people mostly use Facebook as authors is posting regularly, being consistent with posting, going live. I know going live is so so intimidating. But I look at it like you're in the comfort of your home. You're not technically in front of a million people. And the more you practice it, the better you get. So the first few lives, I had my aunt join me on a couple, and my mom joined me on a couple, and it felt like really encouraging. And I stumbled over my words. But the more I do it, it's almost like I'm FaceTiming my best friend. Like I will get on a live. I got on a live this morning after running 2 miles, and my hair was all over my face, and I was sweating, and I was huffing and puffing and couldn't breathe. Excuse me. And the live was great, and I had a lot of engagement, a lot of questions, and it was great. But I go live regularly because what I've learned is it helps people connect with me as a person. And with me as a person, they're like, wow, I really like this person. I really know this person. I really can trust this person. And when people know, like, and trust you, they're more likely to engage with you. They're more likely to invest in you, and they're more likely to want to continue to connect with you. So give lives a chance. They don't need to be long and drawn out. They need to be 30-minute lives. It can be a 2-minute live with a tip about your book, or a quote about your book, or upcoming details about your book, or anything like that. It doesn't need to be anything long, but the more you do it, the more engagement you'll notice you'll get. Join groups. Facebook is really big for groups. So groups are extremely powerful. So you can go into different groups based on topics. So if you're writing a book about finances, and you go into a group about how to conquer your finances, or you can just go to Facebook and type and go to groups, a little tab groups, and type in groups about finances, or groups about divorce, or groups about goal setting, or groups about starting a business, or groups about writing a blog. Or you can even connect as an author now. There's a ton of author groups that you can connect with and just work and be in community with other authors. But groups are really powerful for a couple of reasons. Groups allow you to connect with people that you can learn from, as well as maybe your ideal reader, but you can also get a lot of insight from there. So when I was working on my book, I would go into groups and just watch what kind of questions people were asking. So I know my book, Surviving Your Split, is about divorce. And I went into a couple of divorce groups, and I would listen to concerns that they had or questions that they had. And I thought about ways that I could incorporate those things into my book. And so groups helped in turn to inform my writing. But on the flip side, once you're connected with those groups, you've shared, you've commented, you've engaged, you've given value, you can share your book. You can go in and say, hey, this is a great book. Or you can say, like, in my book, I wrote about this. Some groups do have policies about what you share. And so it doesn't need to be like an outright post and a picture of your book, but you can say, I actually wrote a book about this very topic, and this was helpful for me in this way, and da-da-da-da-da. And what you'll notice is people, again, will look at you like, wow, you're a published author. Let me find ways to connect with you. So groups are really powerful on Facebook. Facebook is big for sharing. So you can ask people to share your post. You can share other people's posts. It's just a great way, again, to engage. One of the things that you should do on Facebook is begin a business page and invite people. So it's a little bit different than having like a personal page and following people and then following you. A business page puts you in a position of being seen as an expert, and people can kind of follow your journey as an author. Facebook is great for running ads. Ad manager changes all the time, but one of the things that I work through and help my clients with is running ads so that their book can get in front of more people than just their followers, which is amazing. And then obviously you want to use Facebook to engage. All social media sites, that's a given. You cannot constantly get on social media and talk about you and talk about your book without engaging, because then it seems inauthentic, and it seems kind of like almost like you're a user, and you don't want to come off that way, or you don't want to come off needy or desperate. You want to come off like as a person, like a typical person, and you wouldn't stand in a conversation with another person and just talk about you the whole time without finding a way to engage and communicate with that person. So don't do it on social media. The next thing is, I forgot the picture. Let me show you guys a picture. Facebook is also good for collaboration. So one of the things that I did recently is I collaborated with this group of authors, and we went live on another author's page, and it gave me a chance. You see me right here? It gave me a chance to be in front of a larger audience. This author had a really, really big audience called Power Book Fest. She does annual book expos, and so it gave me an opportunity to be in front of a larger audience. And I actually got to learn a lot about some of these other authors' books, and was excited to move forward and purchase these books from these other authors, because it was like amazing, some of their stories. And so it was a great way to connect with other authors, as well as a great way to get my book into front of a larger audience. So use the power of collaboration, see what other authors are doing, see if you can work with other authors, take advantage of that. Instagram, post. So you want to post regularly. Lives are good for the same reason I said on Facebook. Hashtags, super, super important. So the way Instagram works is like you post, but people find you by clicking hashtags. And you want to use, right now, the Instagram algorithm allows for up to 30 hashtags per post. I maximize all of that. I use 30 every single post because each hashtag leads to like a different group. So a hashtag might say, write your book in 30 days, or I love being an author, or overcoming divorce, or setting and reaching your goals, or making money off of your book, or whatever. There's a bunch of different things, but you can research hashtags simply by going to the search bar on Instagram, typing in the hashtag symbol, and just start writing something, right? Write or read, or just a topic or part of your book, and see what popular hashtags come up. You can also go again to authors that are in your genre that write typical books like you and see what kind of hashtags they're using. This will help you to create hashtags that you can use with each engaging post. You want to share. So again, with Instagram, I take advantage of stories. I forgot to mention stories on Facebook, but with stories, I take advantage of like sharing different things on my story. So if I post, I'll share that on my story, because sometimes people will watch a story before they'll look at a post. I share other people's content. I always am making sure that I comment, because again, it goes back to engaging. If you are just all about you and you're not engaging in any way, it seems just very inauthentic. It doesn't seem appropriate for social media. So you want to make sure that you're engaging. You want to invite people to your Instagram. So if you're on Facebook, tell them that you have an Instagram. If you're on Instagram, tell them that you have a Facebook. Because again, sometimes people may use one or the other, and they may be more likely to see something on either social media site first. And so the more you invite them and the more you let them know where you're at, the more they can come. Same thing with Facebook. Instagram runs ads. The neat thing is that Instagram and Facebook ads, you can actually do them in one through the Facebook Ads Manager. You can run an ad, and you can also run it to your Instagram page at the same time you run it to Facebook. And so ads are all the rave, but you just got to be careful, and you definitely want to have a strategist or some support person to help you run ads, because it's easy, or it's tempting to throw money into your ads, but it's easy to actually waste money if you don't do it right. So here's a picture of me on Instagram when I first got my book. This is like just ideas of things to do. So if you notice, there's this little line right here. This is not my book cover. This is boldly the proof copy. But I just wrote, this picture shows my true excitement and genuine happiness for publishing my new book, Make Fear Work in Your Favor. I finally got my proof in the mail and reviewed it, and I'm overjoyed. So this is just like a brief post that I made because it's part of my author journey. And again, I had an intention behind it. I'm talking about this book is coming out soon. It's a proof copy. I'm so excited. This is what this book is going to talk about. And I got a few DMs from this post of people saying, oh, tell me about your book. When does it come out? How can I hear more? And so just sharing this, even though it's not like an ideal cover, it's not like the real cover, it was a great way to precede and let people know what to expect. And then here is, I also offered a free bonus training for those who pre-ordered. So I wanted to put that sense of urgency and a sense of excitement for people to pre-order so that they could jump on it. And I wasn't launching to crickets. I was launching to people that were ready to hear it. So if you see, all of the things, all of my hashtags align with my book, Conquer Fear, Goal Setting. I talk about how fear gets in the way of goal setting. I'm a female entrepreneur, and I share a little bit about my journey as an entrepreneur and overcoming fear, savvy, businesswoman, growth, successful woman, personal development. These are hashtags that I tried, and I try hashtags, and sometimes it's trial and error. You try something, it works, and then you try something, it doesn't. That's okay. But this is just an example of what my post looks like, so that I can come back in and again, bring people to me. So what people do on Instagram is they'll typically click a hashtag. They may be following a certain, because you can follow hashtags too. Like there's people that follow business women or goal setting hashtags. And so now my post shows up in that for people that don't follow me to see. And then from there, they can come over and say, oh, I wonder what's on her post. Oh, I wonder what she's sharing. Like I get crazy number of profile visits a day And I know it's because of my hashtags and the way to engage. With Instagram, remember, you want to engage as much as possible. And so I got a lot of comments and I just commented back every single time. I always make sure to comment back. I don't ever want someone to feel like they're commenting on my post and I'm just too busy for them. So I always make sure that I find ways to engage as well. And commenting is big on that. LinkedIn, I'll be honest, is not something that I use, but I have a lot of clients that use it. I actually have a client who wrote curriculum for a college setting and then was going to turn some of her curriculum into a book. And so LinkedIn was an ideal place because she was marketing her book to colleges. And so that's where colleges are. Most colleges are on LinkedIn because it's a very professional site. And so you can review LinkedIn for answers for questions that relate to the topic of your book. So you can look up and see what people are talking about, questions that they have. So for her, she would go to different college sites and read about curriculum, instruction, and design and see what questions they had and what comments they had, and she used that to gear some of the posts that she made in some of the way that she marketed to these people. It's very important that your bio and LinkedIn aligns with who you are as an author. And honestly, that's for every social media site. For my business page on Facebook, for my Instagram page, I make sure that my bio says that I'm an author because I want people to know, like, hey, I'm an expert in this topic and I want you to be able to trust me with this. And I want people to know that I dedicated a lot of time to developing content for a book that in turn, I pray changes people's lives. And so make sure that your bio states who you are as a person, but as well as an author. Feature your book prominently on your LinkedIn profile. On LinkedIn, there's a whole section for publications. So talk about your publications. What did you publish? When did you publish it? Link it so that people can go and purchase it. And then obviously, as with every single social media site, engage, engage, engage. Pinterest is a new one that I am really learning to love. So a lot of people overlook Pinterest because they think it's for like exercise and recipes. And so they're like, if I'm writing a cookbook or an exercise book, I'll use it. But you can use it for anything. I have a client of mine who is a stepmom, a blended family stepmom coach. And so she coaches stepmoms on how to deal with difficult relationships with bio moms. And so you wouldn't think that she could use Pinterest. She uses it. She's working on a book. So right now she's developing her blog. And she'll send people to her blog. And what that's doing is she's using a social media site that everyone goes to, because Pinterest is much like Google or Yahoo. It's a search engine. It's not like a social media site like Facebook or Instagram in the way that we think it is. So she'll send people that are searching how to stay calm when dealing with biomom, putting images and links, she sends them to her blog, which in turn, she's able to offer them something free or offer them some sort of value. And then they sign up on her email list. And now she's converted them into an email subscriber, which she can continue to nurture for herself, that she can continue to support for herself. You know, it's not, they're no longer just somebody following her on Pinterest. And so here are some examples. When I wrote my book, Make Your Message Your Masterpiece, it was about how to write a book as a busy woman or how to write a book as a busy person. And here are some things that I did. Seven steps to write your book in 30 days. And I'd write like a brief blurb and then I'd link it to my blog. And in my blog, I talked about my book. And at the bottom of that blog post, I offered the reader an opportunity to buy my book. And so I did this every single day for a month. And it was the same blog post. It wasn't 10 different blog posts that I made. I just sent them back to the same blog post. I just kind of came up with a couple of things: 7 steps to write your book in 30 days, 7 quick steps to get started writing your book, 4 reasons you need to publish your book now, 7 steps to write your book in 30 days. And if you see, this is when I was beginning, 143 views, eyes were on this, 751 eyes were on this. I had a couple shares on this. But I've gotten my Pinterest like view count up to 56K right now. So that means on average about 56,000 people are viewing my page, which in turn helps me because if they're viewing my page, some of those people are coming to my blog, some of those people are reading my blog, and some of those people are taking it a step further and buying my book. And so it's kind of a loopy process, but I am really learning to love it because You'll be surprised how many times people use Pinterest for a search engine or use a search engine and end up on Pinterest. And so you have to be really creative to think of content that will align with your book. So if you're writing a book about finance, I don't know why finance keeps coming up. If you're writing a book about finances, you could do something like 7 simple steps to get out of credit card debt in the next 30 days, 7 simple steps to get a hold of your budget, whatever like that, and then lead them to a blog post that kind of goes more in depth on that topic, and then offer your book at the end. This is a great opportunity, again, for people to see you as an expert, because here you are, you're showing up on Pinterest, you're showing up on a blog, and you got a book. This is wonderful. So it's a great strategy. TikTok. So TikTok is new. And TikTok, the way I look at TikTok is it's a great opportunity for you to show the fun, silly side of you. And so you can get on TikTok and just dance with your kids or be funny and just show who you are as a person, because again, it makes you relatable. But you can also use TikTok and be a little bit intentional about it. So with TikTok, I recently did a video of me reading my book. So I did like a video of me like kind of sad and journaling and writing down my idea. And then I did a video of after I got my book. So you see like the before and after. This is like, this little journal says thoughts, and it's like me contemplating my thoughts. And then you see me writing and looking frustrated. And then here you are, you see the level of excitement that I have as I'm holding my book in my hand, and I'm just so excited. And I talk about how you can go from point A to point Z. So going from the writing and the overwhelm to point Z of holding your book in your hand and having so much excitement. So those are literally screenshots of the video I did. So that's why they're kind of blurry. But with TikTok, again, you want to engage in other people's videos. You want to share your TikToks onto your social media because it lets people see that different, silly, fun side of you. And with TikToks, I'm just learning this. My daughter taught me this. But TikToks, you can actually use hashtags as well. And that's a great way for you to increase your following and get people to find you. So again, my biggest sites I'd probably say right now are Pinterest, Instagram, and Facebook. But I am learning to branch out, and I'm just kind of feeling them out so that I can continue to learn to support my clients. So I'm not holding myself to the standard of having to be an expert or perfect on every single thing. Twitter. So Twitter, you can use hashtags, excuse that typo. You can use hashtags to, again, have people follow you. You can share short quotes because Twitter has a word count limit. You want to make sure that you're not writing these long drawn out things. You want to catch their attention and catch their attention quick. So it may say something like blurb from my book, and you share 2 sentences, or quote from my book, or intro to the poem from my book, but just something to catch their attention. Again, you want to change your bio to state that you're an author, and you want to engage as much as possible. So here's an example of something that I posted when I came out with my book, Make Fear Work in Your Favor. And this is after it was published, but do you have a vision that's more compelling than your fear? So notice that's like an immediate question, kind of wanting to get them to engage and think like, I do have a pretty big vision, but my fear is pretty darn big too. And then if not, fear will stop you dead in your tracks every single time. Ultimately, faith and fear are both choices. I challenge you to starve your fear and feed your faith by doing what you love and what you are called to do, is what the rest of it says. And so then they're able to see the picture of my book and connect and take advantage of that. So I did forget something. This made me think about it as I see this. On social media, in your bio, you want to make sure that you have links. I mentioned that for LinkedIn, but on Instagram, you have an opportunity to put a link. If you do not have a website, I highly recommend that you link your Amazon page or a page where someone, even if it's just like a landing page to buy your book, you want to link where people can buy your book. Because the last thing you want is to make it difficult for people to find where they can purchase your book as an author. And so you want to make it super simple. So you can say at the end of every post, check out the link in my bio so that you can purchase my book. And so it's a great way to, again, get them to engage. Because you got people looking all through your bio to try to find you, they're going to give up. Us as consumers, we're lazy. Even me, sometimes I'll be laying in bed and I'm like, do I really have to get my wallet to do this? Like Apple Pay has been so bad and so dangerous for me, because before, when I would have to get my wallet, I talked myself out of it. And so I prevented myself from buying unnecessary things. But with Apple Pay, it's like, now I can just kind of buy what I want to buy real quick and in my bed. So you got to think about the consumer when it comes to that. All right, YouTube. This is another one. YouTube is a great way for people to get to know you because, again, it's a video. So they're able to put a face with a name. You're able to sense personality. Like when people see me on YouTube, they see me talk with my hands because I'm such a hand talker. I'm talking with my hands as we speak. But YouTube requires a lot. There's a lot of parts to YouTube. You want to make sure you look nice. You want to make sure you have a nice background. You want to avoid any unnecessary noise. I learned the hard way. I recorded a 12-minute video and had the cutest earrings in. But when I tell you I watched that video, all I could focus on was the dangling of the earrings. And I had to go back in and record the whole thing. Another time I had really cute glasses on. It had a really bad glare. And so I had to change my glasses out. Now, luckily, I don't really wear glasses. They were just like fun. I like the way I look with glasses sometimes. And so YouTube requires a lot on the front end, but it's a great way, again, to engage with your audience. It's a great way to connect with your audience. It's a great way to share who you are as a person. And so if you want to use YouTube as an author, the first thing you want to do is catch your audience right away. On average, people will quit watching a video within 3 to 5 seconds. And so the first 3 to 5 seconds, you don't want to say, "Hi, I'm Dr. Nicole." If you notice most of my videos, most of my new videos, I've learned again the hard way, all of my new videos, I introduce myself maybe halfway through the video. So I might say, do you believe that you can write your book in 30 days? What if I told you that you could? I'm Dr. Nicole, and I'm a published author of 10 books. And today I'm going to pull back the curtains to give you my foolproof formula to teach you how to write your book in 30 days without the overwhelm. So if you notice, I introduced myself. I told them what to expect in the video, but the very first thing I said was a statement to catch them and bring them in to engage. And sometimes I'll say things like, "Stay until the end. I have something special for you." And really the special is an opportunity to purchase my book or an opportunity to check out my blog for more details. And so it reminds them to stay into the end and it keeps them engaged. With YouTube videos, they don't need to be super long and extensive. When I see a YouTube video for 45 minutes, I don't want to watch it. Unless it's something I need to learn, I don't want to watch it. And so most of my YouTube videos, every Thursday, I do a 3-minute Thursday video. And then every Monday, I do a YouTube video. Those are usually longer. Those are somewhere between like 10 and 20 minutes. And sometimes I still think 20 minutes are too long, but I can get to talking. So I kind of do a balance. And what I notice is actually my 3-minute Thursday videos are better. I get a better watch time. I'll get people watching the whole 3 minutes of my 3-minute Thursday, but sometimes with the longer ones, people don't want to engage as much because they're like, "Man, if I have to sit for 15 minutes, we got a busy world." People don't want to do that as much anymore. And so it doesn't need to be anything long. And you literally can just practice it. I don't have any fancy camera. My friend does record me sometimes with some fancy camera she has, but for the most part, I'll use an iPad or my phone and record myself. I do have a ring light, which has helped with lighting, just because sometimes I'll record if my children are asleep in the morning and it's really dark outside and I didn't really like the dim lighting. I want it to be bright. But other than that, it doesn't take a lot of fancy equipment. You just want to talk. And so as an author, if you're going to do a YouTube channel, you can talk about your book. You can talk about topics related to your book. You can talk about your author journey. Especially if you're doing something like, I know for me, when I was writing the Discover Yourself After Divorce book, I talked about my journey as an author and writing that book. But more importantly, I talked about my journey through divorce and what made me write that book. And so just, again, having that content, you have opportunity to send people to it. So you could use Facebook and say, "I recently recorded a video about the most difficult part of chapter 3 of co-parenting with your ex. Check it out here." And so now everybody's going to your video, and that gives them excitement because it's like, "Man, you're sharing all these things on this video. What else will you share in this book for me?" If you are doing something like a fiction book, you can use props and share different props that relate to your story. You could use a fiction book and read a part of your story. You could do a fiction book and talk about where you got the idea from to write your story. You could use a fiction book and celebrate different parts about your story. And so, like, if you've already published it and it's the character's birthday or something like that, you could talk about the character's birthday and how they're spending their birthday. These are great ways, again, to keep an audience going. And here's the thing. Many people ask, like, if you don't have ongoing services, or if you just want to be an author, you don't really want to coach beyond that, what is the point of continuing to keep them going? And here's the point. Most authors don't stop at one book. And so if you have a loyal following, when you continue to publish, you'll have people that continue to purchase. Second reason why it's important is that if you have people that engage with you and they like you, they're more likely to leave you positive reviews, and more importantly, share your book with other people. Tell other people, man, you got to check out this person's book, or check out their YouTube, or check out this. So it's continuing to keep people around you that are interested in you, that are interested in what you have to share, and it's continuing to give you insight so that you can grow as an author. A suggestion I have for YouTube, especially for people that are getting new to the talking space, is know what you're going to talk about. You don't have to write a scripted speech. You know, I saw somebody on YouTube one time with a literal sheet of paper in front of them, and they're talking, and then they look at the paper and they're like, hold on, let me look. Did I get to point two? Hold on, let me come back to this. And they're literally with the sheet of paper in front of them. Don't do that. You want to be engaging. And the truth is, if you talk about your book and you talk about your journey, you know your stuff. So just have an outline. And outlines help me sometimes because I get thrown off into tangents. You know, I'll be talking about Wendy's by the end of a book writing call if I don't have some kind of outline. So it could be something as simple as like 3 tips to writing your book in 30 days and listing the 3 tips so that you know which order you're going in, what you want to follow, and you stay on track. And then again, like I said, invite your audience to watch and to share. So we went through the steps, just quick review. Identify where your people are willing to hang out. Once you know that, you can kind of go back through those original pages and identifying the things that you need to do to meet those people on those various sites. So whether you're on Twitter or LinkedIn or Pinterest or Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, go back through that after you know where your people are. Determine the ways that you can show up. So identify a plan for how you're going to show up. Create that schedule. So how consistently will you post? How consistently will you go live? How consistently will you do a video, or will you blog? And then how can you commit to that? Is when will you create a schedule to batch these things out? When will you create a schedule to make room for this? When will you create a schedule to clean off your living room couch so that you have a nice background to make your YouTube video? Create a schedule. Step 4, get accountable. So have someone that's already following you, maybe somebody that knows social media very well, and just ask them to support you on the journey. Show up for my live tonight if you can, please. Hey, invite people. Hey, share this for me. Hey, what do you think about this post? Hey, did you notice any errors in this? Hey, does this seem appealing to you? Just get someone in your corner to hold you accountable. And like I said, start now. No excuses. When you know better, you do better. So when you came to me, you kind of didn't know what to do. You're kind of dealing with some fear. Now you know what to do. Now you got to apply it. You cannot allow fear to stop you, because here's the thing. Fear is going to come. You're going to be fearful of your lives. You're going to be fearful of posting. You're going to feel like, oh, what if nobody reads it? And you may have that come true. There may be posts where you get 1 like. There may be posts where people don't read it. But if you allow yourself to become consumed in fear, you will never step out. And people that have 60K followers or 1 million engaging comments and likes and follows and posts and video watches and shares didn't start off with that. They started off just like you, with very humble beginnings. I know for me, it took me over almost 2 years to get 1,000 followers and to get Instagram strategies in place. But now that I have a loyal following, I can keep posting and posting with confidence and knowing that I'm engaging my following. And let me just give a little caveat. Numbers don't matter. I know people with 30K followers that don't make sales, and I know people with 500 followers that do. And so value is important, making sure you're having value and making sure you're having the right kind of people follow you. If you're just getting people to follow you for the sake of following you, that's not going to take you anywhere. So start now. No excuses. Do not allow fear to stop you. Just start. Just go for it. So here's some tips that I have for you. Know that your profile speaks for you. So this is really big. If I go to your site, if you are a yoga instructor and you're writing a book about wellness, and I'm saying that because I just spoke with somebody who was doing that this morning. She's doing great, so this is not her story at all. But if you are a yoga instructor and you are writing a book about wellness, and I go to your page and you're talking about your kid's dad who didn't pay child support and that you need the money and want somebody to cash app you, I'm not going to be interested in buying your book, because your profile speaks for you and who you are as a person. And so you have to think about that. And I know that that puts a lot of pressure because you want to just be yourself, but you also want to think about putting your best foot forward. Don't overdo it is another tip. So again, don't try to be everything to everybody. Don't try to be on TikTok, Pinterest, blogging, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Don't try to be on everything. You cannot, if you overdo it, you will fail. You know, a lot of people will come to me and they'll say, I'm just going to show up on everywhere because I want to reach everybody everywhere. The truth is, your audience isn't everywhere anyway. You know, most people on LinkedIn are very professional. So if you're writing to high school graduates, they're probably not really on LinkedIn yet. If you're writing to 60-year-old divorced women, they're probably not on Snapchat. You know, like you got to know your audience. So don't try to overdo it, because not only will it not be effective with your audience, it won't be effective with you, because you will burn out. Think about it. Have you ever tried to overdo like eating healthy and you're like, I'm cutting sweets out forever? I did that one time and I did great for 7 days. And then at the end of the 7 days, I ate more sweets than I probably ate in 6 months, because I didn't like get myself into it. So don't overdo it. Social media is so important with being consistent. If you are inconsistent, that's the quickest way to lose people. That's the quickest way to lose value. I'll never forget when I started the idea of starting a business in the end of 2017, because I published my book in 2017. I got a lot of people started to reach out to me and ask me how to become a best-selling author. And then I grew a brand and a business from my very first book, which was not about writing. So it's really fun. But I remember I was going to hire a coach because I really wanted to learn how to scale and grow my business. And I was down to 2 coaches and I was trying to decide. And honestly, it was a very impulsive decision because I didn't really know where to begin. I just knew that I needed help. So I did not follow them for some time, but I took about a month to make the decision. And over that month, one coach showed up faithfully. She gave a ton of value. She shared testimonials. She also shared about herself and was just very real and relatable. And the other one fell off the face of the earth. Like, I would DM her to ask her a question. I didn't hear from her. She didn't post. And then like, maybe I ended up signing with the first coach. And then maybe 2 months after I signed with the first coach, the lady was in a whole different like coaching practice. She was talking about coaching people and businesses. And then she went into wellness coaching. And it was like, just like total difference. And so she was all over the place. People sense that. People sense that. And I did too, even as impulsive as my decision was. And I know for me personally, I have people that will reach out to me and tell me that they've been following me for 2 years before they made a purchase. There is a ton of value in showing up and being consistent. Trust me when I say that. Use a scheduling service if you want. So I know sometimes committing to scheduling every single day is overwhelming. So you can use a scheduling service like Buffer, Hootsuite, Every Post is what that should say, or IFTT, if this, then that. I use IFTT, which means you can like plug in. It's really cool. It's almost like little apps that you plug in. You create an account totally free, and you say, if I upload a YouTube video to this channel, add it to my Facebook page. So every time now I upload a YouTube video, it goes to my Facebook page without me having to share it. Every time I post on Facebook, it goes to my Twitter. And if it's too long of a post, you'll see here, actually, I can show you. It's a perfect example of IFTT. If it's on my Twitter page and it's too long of a post, it'll link this. You see IFTT right here. It'll link this. And if people click it, it'll take them to my Facebook. So now it's an extra way for them to connect with me. But when you have these kind of services, they prevent you from having to do double work. And so the best thing you can do, especially as you're navigating this, the best thing is you can do is take the pressure off of yourself to do all of the work. And so these are great. Some of them cost, but some of them have free versions. So it's a great way to start. A big tip that I have for you is don't just talk about your book. And that goes along with the next one. Give more than you can take. And what I mean by take is like, don't get on there and constantly ask for a sale, because then people are going to feel like you seem needy or desperate or salesy, and people do not like that. You don't like when people just reach out to you to ask you for money or to ask you for a sale or to ask you to buy something. So give value. A lot of times when people come to me, they're scared to give value. They're like, if I share my poem, what if somebody steals it? Or if I share my poem and they don't like it, then what if they don't read my book? Well, the right person will read your poem and love it. Or if you share your poem and somebody steals it, that's copyright infringement. Because as soon as you write something and it has a date on it, it's copywritten, technically. So there's a lot of there's a lot of ifs and what ifs and all of that. But the important thing is that you're giving value. When you give value, people again like you, know you, and trust you. They know, like, and trust you. The more they do that, the more inclined they are to purchase with you, which is the most important thing. And so you want to give value. And one thing that I've learned is, like, a lot of my free trainings, I give tons of value. And people are like, well, then they won't sign up with you beyond that. But if I give so much value in a free training, just imagine what I'm going to do if you paid to work with me moving forward. Like, anybody that's worked with me knows I show up and show out for my clients. Create a home base. That's much of what we talked about earlier. So having a website, I know that sometimes that can be difficult, and you can consider hiring somebody, or you can start off with simply a landing page. But you want to have a way to collect email addresses and a way for people to connect with you outside of social media, because social media changes so drastically. The last thing you want is to have no connections and still be an author trying to sell. And so having a home base where people can connect with you and follow up with you is great. And I put that at the end of all of my books. If you'd like to connect with me after this book, please, go here. And I always put my website, and I always hashtag social media. For me, I keep the same name across the board, which is what I'm going to suggest for you. So I always just say, connect with me at Nicolia Williams across social media platforms, because it's easy. If your name is Nicolia Williams on Facebook, but it is Clarity Cove Publications on Instagram, and then on LinkedIn, it is Dr. Williams, and then on Twitter, it's Nick Williams. Like, people are going to be so confused of where to find you, and it's really a mouthful. I've been featured on so many like podcasts, and they'll say, "Oh, tell the listeners where they can connect with you after this." And for me to say, on Twitter, it's this, and on LinkedIn, it's this, and on Facebook, it's this. It's so easy to just say, connect with me across all social media platforms at Nicolia Williams. So it's good to keep a common thread amongst all of them. Again, what we talked about earlier is use social media sites to research your ideal audience. The more insight you get from social media, the more effective you're going to be in your marketing process. With social media, keep an open mind. So social media changes all the time. And so sometimes you kind of got to go with the flow. It took me forever to really get into the flow of stories, but now I really like stories, and I've found them to be extremely engaging. So keep an open mind and be flexible. Be willing to go with it, and be willing to continue to learn. And the biggest thing that I can say tip-wise is to be you. So do not get on social media and try to fake the funk. Don't say that you've made $1 million in sales if you haven't made $1 million in sales. Don't say that you wrote your book without the overwhelm and the frustration and without the confusion or exhaustion if you were extremely overwhelmed, frustrated, and exhausted. Be you. People resonate with people that are authentic. And I've seen way more engagement when I am transparent, when I share, like, this is my day. The other day I recently shared, like, I'm exhausted and I'm ready to go to bed like a grandma at 7:00 because I wrote for an hour today when I didn't really feel like it. So I don't try to make it seem all glamorous and fun. I'm very authentic, and I've learned that helps me to connect with people in real ways. Just like I shared with my Progress Over Perfection book, I shared about me being an overcoming perfectionist and how I still struggle with being a perfectionist. Like, it's funny seeing this Everett post, and it's supposed to say every post, is driving me crazy. But I share these things and let people know that I'm still human, so that they know that I don't think that I'm better than them, that I'm different than them. And social media is intimidating like that. You get on and you see people's highlight reels and they make you feel less than. The best thing you can do for your reader is to make them feel related to make them feel valued, and to make them feel like they're normal, like you're both human, and that's okay. So be you and nobody else. It takes way more energy to pretend to be something that you're not. So just be you. Here are some creative ideas. Virtual book tours or readings. So you can use lives or posts, and mostly like live videos, to do a virtual book tour or a reading. I read my daughter's book, which is a kid's book, and I got on there and I read the story and had like invited parents, hey, this is going to be a reading hour for your kids. Come listen to my daughter's book. And then I read it, and kids are great sellers. So like, then they're like, wow, I want that book. I love that book. And so it was an opportunity for me to sell. And also one thing I did is a flash sale. So sometimes if you join a live, I may say, like, I'll give one book away during this live, or I'll do any books purchased will be for $9.99 instead of $13, or whatever. It's a great way to engage them. You can also do virtual book tours, which means that you can go in. I did this on Facebook where I went into different Facebook groups and shared my level of expertise. So I went into a Mary Kay Facebook group of people that are Mary Kay distributors. I went into an entrepreneurial business Facebook group. I went into the Step Family Coach on my clients Facebook group. And all of these, I talked about goal setting because all of those are related to goals in some sense or another. I geared my talk to it, but then again, I aligned it with my book. And at the end, I offered them an opportunity to buy my book. I got a lot of followers and I got a lot of purchases, but virtual book tours are a great way to meet people where they're at. And especially as a new author, if you don't have the money to travel all over the world, virtual book tours are a great way to meet people. So if you are, I shared this earlier, if you're doing like a fiction book, you can share props from your book. You can share pictures that are in your book to really engage people. And these can be in posts or pictures or lives. Network. That's how I met that powerhouse group of people that were authors. And I got the opportunity to speak in front of a larger audience. It's because I network. You know, I see people that write and I'm like, hey, I really like what you're up to. Or, hey, I love your book cover. Or, hey, I'm working on a book too. How's your book writing process going? And I connect with other people that are like-minded, that have similar topics and similar interests. And the more I network with them, the more I get connected to random things. You know, for me, when I was starting my entrepreneurial business, I ran into the lady that owned the Mary Kay. She was the owner, but she was like a director of a group of Mary Kay women. And so we connected. I don't really buy into skincare. And so it was interesting, not like the big name Mary Kay skincare. So it's interesting that we connected on an entrepreneurial level. But again, that goes back to networking. And to be honest, I am a big introvert. Networking on social media feels easier to me than it does face to face. I still do it both ways. But networking, don't overlook that. It's really powerful. Share events in their schedules. So if you know that you're going to be speaking somewhere, share it all over social media. Even if like you're speaking out at your local church or at your local bookstore, at your local library, and you know half of your followers can't come, still share it because again, it highlights you as an author. It highlights what you can bring. And when you share it, then other people will step in. You know, I had a recent speaking engagement and I shared it and a girl reached out to me and asked to book me for 2021. And so now I have an opportunity to speak in her local thing. And it's a ways out just because she saw me now as a speaker. Sharing any written content that you have. So sharing blogs, sharing features that you have on podcasts or other people's blogs. Or if sometimes people will highlight you on Instagram, or share your different posts on Facebook, share those things so people, again, can see you. The more people see you, the more relevant you are. Keeping your ideal followers informed on your journey. So if you're starting the writing process or getting close to the end, keep them informed. Hey guys, I sent over my book. I'm ready for the edits. Hey guys, I received my book. I got the edits. Hey guys, I'm ready to hit submit. Hey guys, I'm formatting it. Hey, I'm taking pre-sales. Keep them informed on your journey. People love feeling like they're in the know. They love to feel close to you. Update them on any upcoming news. Update them on any behind the scenes things, right? These are some ways to keep them informed on the journey. Share pictures and testimonials. So one of the things that I did is when people were getting copies of my book, I'm like, hey, share a picture with me of you holding your book. And I would share that all over social media. Hey, share a testimonial if you don't mind. Or people sometimes will just give testimonials. And it's great that you keep it and it makes you feel wonderful, but share it so that other people can see the value that you have and that you bring. Giveaways. A lot of authors are worried about giveaways. I've gotten so much value from a giveaway. If you do the process right, most of your books printed are going to cost you like $3. And so giving away a $3 book is not losing anything. I've given away a book at an airport before. I've given a book away on a live stream before. I've given a book away when I was increasing followers on YouTube. But again, if you give away a book, it gives people an opportunity to see who you are. It gives people an opportunity to see you as friendly and giving. And it increases that know, like, and trust factor. So don't be scared of giveaways. It's also a good way to get engagement. So you can say like, hey, on tonight's live, I'm going to talk about my book. I'll have lucky live viewer will get a free copy of my book. So now you got all these people joining. You might get 10 sales and you gave away one book. That didn't hurt you at all. You know, you're still blessing somebody. It's a great donation. It's a great write-off. And it's just a great opportunity. So I am a big advocate for giveaways. Share your reading list. A lot of times when you write a book, people like to know, like, what in the world are you reading that caused you to write that? What are you engaging in that gave you these ideas? So share your reading list. Collaborate, talk to other people, connect with other people, network, like I said, work together with other people. Every time you work with somebody, you increase your reach. If you have 500 followers and the other person has 500 followers and you connect and do a joint live, you guys are both in front of an additional 500 followers. It benefits everyone. So collaborate if you can. It's an amazing journey. And then finally, Q&A sessions. These are a great strategy too. So you can do something like, hey, after you read my book, if you want, like, I want to do like a book club. Book club is great. So on Mondays, anyone who's read my book, we're going to do a book club. And then on Mondays, we are going to talk about what our biggest takeaways were from this book, or the questions we have, or the answers. This is a great way to get started, to do like a virtual book club and to engage people. You could use a live stream, and that way other people are kind of seeing you, following the journey, even if they haven't purchased the book. Or you can start a group on Facebook at no cost. Just start your own group, title it with your book's title if possible, and then invite people that order your book, and then do it in a more intimate setting. But again, it's helping you as an author to engage, it's helping you to learn your audience, and it's helping them to see you as a very giving and loving person, which ultimately benefits you in the long run. So from here, that was a ton of information. And I want you to think about your next steps. Your next steps need to be to identify which platform you want to show up on, determine how you're going to show up, and commit to starting today. Unless it's like 11 o'clock and you're about to go to bed, you need to start today. And it can be as simple as just posting something like, I'm so excited about my author journey. Literally, write that, take that, write that. I am so excited about my author journey. See what kind of engagement you get, see what kind of questions you get, but just feel it out. Then I want you to think about what you will do today to start working on creating a social media persona. So that involves staying consistent, being yourself, being authentic, deciding which parts of your life that you want to share, which parts of your life maybe you're not ready to share. But start working on how you want to create that. And then I want you to think about what is something that you're willing to do outside of your comfort zone. A lot of what I shared are going to be a lot of what you're going to do are going to be outside of your comfort zone. Most of us use social media to like scroll, be nosy, buy things and add, see what other people are doing, or connect with like high school friends, college friends, and family members, right? Or post like complaints or concerns or cool TV shows we're watching. But most of us it's kind of nerve-wracking to post that you're doing something different. And so it's going to be outside of your comfort zone. But what are you willing to do to be okay with being outside of your comfort zone? Here's what I'm going to say about comfort zones. Comfort zones are familiar and they're safe. And so a lot of times when we step out of our comfort zone, our body will try to politely drag us back. Do not let that happen. Your comfort zone is the very thing, the nemesis, the very thing that is preventing you from stepping into your growth zone. If you want to grow, if you want to succeed, and you want to build your confidence and have an impact as an author, you got to get out of that comfort zone quick, fast, and in a hurry. So what is it that you're willing to do that's outside of your comfort zone? Are you willing to maybe log in a social media post and then not check it so that you don't get nervous? Are you willing to show up every single day? And that means part of that is not watching TV so that you can make sure you focus on navigating your social media and learning social media and writing out your blog posts or whatever. What are you willing to do to get outside of your comfort zone so that in turn, you put yourself in a position to succeed? And then finally, who's going to hold you accountable? Those are the next steps that I want you to narrow down. I left a page here for notes because y'all know I get to talking. So there's tons of notes, tons of room for notes that you can take notes on what you want to do. And then finally, here's just some things that some of my clients say after working with me. I just completed the book writing boot camp, life-changing experience for me. The wisdom and knowledge provided is aiding me personally and as an inspiring author. I work with my clients not just on like book writing, but I work with them on like success of as a person, as a whole. I'm very, very big advocate for personal development because I know that personal development is like a key strategy to success through all areas of life. So Tasha, who wrote that one? Dawn. She was awesome. And then here's Tasha. Oh, my screen went out. Working with Nicolia was amazing. Before working with her, I had no idea about the book publishing process. She helped me gain a better understanding on how to get started with publishing my first book during my 4 weeks of coaching with her. I highly recommend her and her coaching services. This is a great strategy that I worked with her, was just the publishing piece, how to self-publish, how to market, and most importantly, how to prosper. My goal as a coach is to teach you to write, publish, and prosper. There's no good if I teach you to just write. It's no good if I just teach you how to publish, but you got to figure out how to prosper off of your book, how to make an impact, and how to make an income. Those are the most important aspects after writing your book. And so if you aspire to get more support on this journey, here is where you can sign up for a totally free call with me, calendly.com/Nicolia Williams /15 men. You can sign up for a totally free call with me here, and we can continue to discuss how I can support you on this marketing, publishing, and writing journey so that ultimately you are successful as an author. The last thing I want you to be is a sad and struggling author. Nobody has to be that way. So just as me, I'm a certified life coach, best-selling author of 10 books, and a blogger for women. As a coach, I divide my time between empowering women one-on-one, motivating groups of women. I do one-on-one master classes, speaking engagements, podcasting, YouTube, showing up on social media, all of that. I enjoy spending my free time with my lovely 2 daughters. I enjoy reading because I believe reading informs my writing. I enjoy writing because it's a great outlet and very therapeutic for me. I attend church. It's just a great foundation for me and a grounding practice that I get into regularly. And I like to exercise at the gym, although I am learning to start exercising outside, just so that I can have exercise wherever I go. I don't need to wait for a gym. And obviously, like I said, you guys can connect with me on my blog, NicoliaWilliams.com, or on social media at Nicolia Williams across the board, much like I said. So picture of me and all of my books. So I just want to take a moment and thank you for dedicating this time. It is easy to dedicate an hour to watching your favorite TV show or to sleeping in or to doing a bunch of other things. It is a little bit more difficult to dedicate that same level of investment of time into your growth. And so a lot of people don't do it. And unfortunately, that's why a lot of people remain stuck and stagnant. But you, my friend, are different. And so I just want to take a moment to give you a round of applause. I'm literally doing a circle round of applause and a pat on the back to acknowledge the step that you've taken, and to say that I appreciate that. And I look forward to, most importantly, connecting with you moving forward. Have an amazing day. Bye, guys.